Hi, welcome to Tyne Valley Motorhomes. I'm Callum and this is the handover of a 2015 Auto Sleeper Malvern. So as we start the walk around on the driver's side first, so all the Auto Sleeper range now are fitted with LPG tanks. So this is your LPG filler point, as there's a 25 litre underslung tank on the chassis. So go to your local LPG centre, remove the cap. It's a bayonet fitting, so what you need to do is fit the front of the nozzle on the filler, then turn it clockwise until it locks onto the bayonet fitting and pull the trigger back. The trigger will then sit back flush and you'll be able to press the button on the filler on the display until simply it won't take any more. So for something like this you're looking about 20 quid to fill, and this will last a while as it's 25 litres, but you can see how much is on board on the display beside the dashboard, which I'll show you when I'm in the cab towards the end of the video. You've got your filler for your water, but you've got two fillers on this. So this is when using an aqua roll pump, so a wheel submersible pump should I say, into an aqua roll. If you're well camping or on a site where you didn't want to move the van, you can bring water to the van, but on the other side you can fill with a hose pipe, which I'll show you. Got your main hookup point, so to hook the vehicle up, get your hooker blade, lift the collar, always hook the van up first and then the sight, and do it in reverse order when unhooking. But when unhooking, if you push this clip down to release the lead, and then you've got your max view external TV point, so this is to hook up when on a super site. If you carry a length of coax with you, you can use their aerial instead of your own if you are struggling to get a signal. So you just connect here on the bottom, and then underneath you've got your grey waste here, so you'd open the grey waste over a grid on the way out of your site, and this is any water that you've put down your plug hole goes into there and will simply drain off. And then coming to the back, so using the keys, so you've got your FedFed key here, which opens your header tank, which you'll want to get some pink liquid, get a watering can, mix it up with some water and tip it into here, and this is your flush for your system. And then below you've got your cassette, so this is where everything goes. So to get your cassette out, make sure the blade's closed first of all, but I'll show you a handy routine on how to do that inside. Lift the clip on the bottom and slide the cassette free of the vehicle. You'll then be able to carry it to your waste disposal point, which is normally beside your toilet block. Remove the cap, press the button and tip it out. Once you've tipped it out, put some water in, give it a rinse and tip out again. And then you want to fill this with 120 ml of either the pink or the green liquid, or should I say the blue or the green, not the pink, into here, into there. Dilute it with some water and it's good to go into the vehicle, and that will break down all of your solids and things into your cassettes, into your cassette. And then at the back corner you'll notice that you do have your wastewater outlet, your fresh water. So your wastewater is before the wheel, your fresh water is behind. So this is anything, if you've taken on contaminated water, if you're draining down for the winter, you'll just simply open the tap and drain off your water, as you wouldn't want any water to freeze in the vehicle and cause any damage. And on the back you've got your high level brake light, above that your reverse camera, your tow bar with 13 pin electrics on the back, storage underneath your bed, your water filler, so you can open that, and that's where you put your hose pipe to fill the vehicle with water. So carry your hose pipe and some hose pipe connections, as it's mainly just a brass tap on most sites. 240 external volt socket on your awning side, and then you've got your external gas point. So this will work off the gas tank on board. You'll get a quick release connector to go in there. You'll need some gas hosing and some Jubilee clips to connect to your Caddock external awning heater barbecue, and then you can turn the gas on and off from here like a gas tap on board. You've got your vent for your heater, so just make sure that is obstruction free at all times and there's enough space around it so it can breathe. Fridge vents, microwave vents, awning. It's too windy to show you the awning, but we'll show it on collection if it's not windy because it's quite stormy up here. And then we've got your awning light, step, so to bring your step out, you press this button here and it'll bring the step out. And then you do have another locker at the front, so using your West alloy key, the square one, you can open here and you can put your leveling rams, hookup leads, all your wet gear in there so you're not trailing it in and out of the motorhome. Diesel, so this is how you would fill the Sprinter with diesel for the engine. Leisure batteries underneath there, so to gain access you will have to take the seat off, but you've got a little inspection panel just on the side there. Engine batteries underneath the floor, like I've said, toolkit, bonnet release is just on the side here, so to release the bonnet, and then underneath the bonnet you've got your brake fluid, your coolant, your oil filler and your dipstick and your screen wash. And then if you were wanting to jump start the vehicle, there is jump start points underneath the bonnet, so push this in and expose the live pole, which is here where you put your jump leads on for giving or receiving a jump start. And then you would earth off the wing, passenger wing on the inside there, there's an earthing point. And then to put the bonnet back down, if you just push it up, push this in, and then you'll be able to put the bonnet back down. So above the habitation door you've got your main 12-volt control panel. So if you're hooked up you'll get a little electricity sign here just between the external temperature and the date and time. So that indicates that you're hooked up on mains power. And then if you weren't hooked up you would just have 12 volts. So this here in the top left hand corner is what's known as your master switch. So this turns on the electrics to the living area. And then you've got your tap here, which should you have enough water on board you can turn this on, and this is your pump for your taps, toilet and shower. Don't put your pump on if you haven't got any water on board because you can burn the motor out on the pump, but press here and you'll be able to turn your water on, and then you can go up and down through this panel. So I'll show you this in a moment once I've done all the buttons, but you can view your waste, fresh, leisure battery reading and vehicle battery reading. And then the next button along you do have your master switch for all your interior lights, and then they all are individually switched around the motorhome. On the bottom in the left hand corner you've got your awning light, which is the light outside the vehicle. You've got a dimmer switch to dim the lights down, so just press and hold and you'll be able to dim them down and brighten them above the lockers. Power transfer button, so this one here which has got the two batteries and the little transfer sign. I wouldn't advise using this, this is mainly for an emergency. So the leisure battery does all your 12 volt to your habitation side. You don't want to really use the engine battery, but you can in an emergency. But I wouldn't advise doing it, because if you use this, just make sure it's always using the leisure battery and never the vehicle, because if you've put on the vehicle and you've pressed that, you're on site for a few days, and then you go to start the engine and you can't start up, it's because you've drained your vehicle battery. Use your battery that's proven to power the motorhome, which is your leisure battery. And then you do have your tank heaters here, so if it was going to potentially freeze overnight you can pop them on and it will stop the water from freezing in the tanks. And then coming back to here, so if you can scroll down and you can view your vehicle battery 13.6 volts. Take your hookup out to give a true reading of your batteries. You've got the solar amp. It does go to sleep when the hookup's in because the hookup's bringing the bigger amperage in. And then you've got your what's currently being used off your leisure battery, so 3.2 amps. You've got date and time, so you can set them by pressing enter, and then you've got your time and going back to the auto sleeper control panel. To operate the Truma CP digital control panel, which does your heating and hot water, so to turn on and off you just press and hold, so a long hold. You'll get this screen which is like standby, and then you'd press enter and then you're in the menu. So in the top left hand corner you'll notice you've got a motorhome with a thermometer in which is flashing. This is how hot you want the thermostat to be inside the motorhome. So this is the temperature that you want to be the van to be. So you've got all the way to off. In the summer you wouldn't have your heating on, but when in the winter you might, and when it's colder you can have it all the way up to 30 degrees. Once you're happy with the temperature set, you just press enter, and that's preset that thermostat to 30 degrees. And then moving on, you've got water with a thermometer in, so this is how hot you want your water. Again, if you don't have water on board or your boiler's open, don't try and heat any water, because it is just like putting a kettle on without any water in. You're going to burn the element out. So you've got your water, you've got 40 degrees of heating your water, 60 degrees of heating your water, or boost, and boost will turn off the heating to prioritize the water first. So for this we'll just say 60 degrees, and your boiler on your motorhome is only 10 litres. So if you want to go in for a shower, you may want to have a quick shower, or if you want a slightly longer one, use the mixer tap and adjust the temperature. And then here you've got a gas bottle and some electricity signs. So this is what source you're going to be heating the water or heat the vehicle off. So you've got gas on its own, which you'd use if you're wild camping. You've got mixture 1, which is 1 kilowatt of electric and gas. Mixture 2, which is 2 kilowatts of electric and gas. You'd use this more in the winter when it's cold to really boost the heating or the hot water. And that should heat the heating and the water up within about 15-20 minutes. And then you've got electric on 1 kilowatt, which is 750 watts, and electric on 2 kilowatts, which is 1500 watts. So if you go to a site, you'd use electric on 2. The only time you'd use electric on 1 if you're on a smaller CL site or abroad on an air where they don't give you as much amperage through your hooker blade. But on most sites throughout the UK you can use electric on 2, and obviously you don't want to waste your gas if you've paid to go on a site, so you just put electric on 2. And then you've got your fan. So you've got Eco, High or Boost. Eco, so it's just a 12 volt assisted fan. Eco takes a smaller feed of 12 volt. High, you'll really hear it blowing around the vehicle, and then Boost, it'll boost by using all the fan speed to circulate the heat around the van. Timer in the bottom corner, so you can time the heating to come on and off just the once. Display panel time, so you can adjust that when the clocks go back and forth. And then you've got a spanner here, so you can go to reset should you get a warning triangle like we have there. Just needs reset from time to time to do. Reset, preset, press enter. And then what it'll do is it will go back through the menu, and you'd have to set this all up again. And then you're ready to go. And then as you look, it says the heating's on, the hot water's on 60 degrees. We're using gas and electric because I've selected mix 2, and we're using Eco on the fan as only one fin is selected. At the front of the van you've got your lounge, and then the 2 passenger and driver seats do spin round by these red levers here. What you might want to do is release it, and then you'll notice it gets stuck. Just pull the cab seat forward and then spin it round, and you can get both seats turned round into the rear of the motorhome. Underneath this seat here, you do have your fuse board underneath this compartment. So you've got a system shutdown button here in the top left. This will turn off all power drain to your leisure battery. So if you're storing it up, you may want to turn that off, and it'll stop all your power. So if you've got a drain on your leisure battery, it'll stop that from draining the leisure battery completely. This is just duplicated from the control panel. You've got your 12-volt fuses here, so do carry some spare blade fuses which you can pick up from your local car shop, Halfords, Euro car parts and so on, and they are just a normal size one, not the mini ones, so carry some. And there's just a mixtures of 5, 10s, 15s and 20 amp fuses. And then on this side you've got all of your trips, so your RCD and MCBs. So if you trip the vehicle out, try here before you try your main sight. And then above you've got 3 switches, so you just want to leave them pushed in so they illuminate when on mains power. So you've got your charger which charges your leisure battery on mains power. You've got your mains power element for your space heater, and you've got your mains power element for your water heater. So if they weren't switched on, which they weren't when we got into the motorhome, you'll get your warning triangle on the control panel. Try resetting it. If it still comes on, you've got a problem, so just make sure that you haven't just knocked one of these. And then above you've got your LM40 unit, which is your interface which crosses over between the cab and the motorhome. So that runs your marker lights, your fridge, your tone electrics, your vehicle battery and your door locks. So you've got a few fuses in there, so again carry some spares. You won't have to change fuses a lot on this unit, but just carry some spares just in case one does blow, you can fix your problem. And then you've got your solar panel control charger, which is your MPPT dual battery charger, so it's charging the leisure battery and the vehicle battery. But again, your solar panel is only as good as the round thing in the sky. So in the winter months we do advise that if you're keeping the vehicle at home, that you hook the vehicle up and charge it, but don't charge it all the time. Charge it for like 2 or 3 days a week solid, then turn it off, then turn it back on, because keeping it hooked up can sometimes break the battery as well as not keeping it hooked up. Storage on this side, lifting this one up, you've got storage as well. And then to do the bed, what you need to do is slide them out to meet in the middle, pull your cushions forward, drop the backrests in the back, and there you've created a double bed across the width of the motorhome. All your little reading lights are individually switched and you can move them to suit, and there's a little rocker switch to turn them on and off, but make sure that the main light switch on the control panel is turned on to power these, and then they all are individually switched. So you've got 4 readers in the front lounge. Top rate your blinds, so if you pull up from the bottom, you've got a blackout blind, let them clip together and then pull down from the front. You've got a fly screen, pinch in the middle and depart the 2, and then press the buttons in on the latches for the windows. You'll be able to open the window, push the window out, and they'll automatically stay out on the stairs. You've got to push it all the way out to the top to bring it back in to release the mechanism inside the window stairs. Across from the kitchen you do have your microwave. So your microwave is an 800 watt mains power microwave, so it'll only work when hooked up. And then you've got this handy switch here which turns the microwave off and on, so make sure the switch is on, and then you'll be able to use the microwave. Storage cupboard above. Your fridge, so you've got a separate freezer box to your fridge. So in the middle is the control panel, so to turn the fridge on and off, fridge freezer, press and hold, turns it off, press again and you'll turn it back on. A stands for automatic energy selection, so you can leave it on A, and what that'll do is it'll pick the best source it has available at any time, and it'll tell the fridge freezer to use that. So at the moment we're hooked up, it's went to mains power. So if you're hooked up and you're on a site, you want to be on mains power because you've paid your site fees again, you don't want to be wasting your gas. Or if you were lucky enough to keep this at home and you're charging the battery a couple of days before you go on your holidays, a couple of days before you'll also want to put your fridge freezer on, and then the day before you'll want to go off in the car, bring your shopping back, fill your fridge freezer and allow that to chill overnight. You'd be doing that on electric. If you want to take the hookup out when it's on automatic, it will automatically switch to the next best source available, i.e. gas. So it'll switch over to gas and use the gas should the gas bottle be open. And then when you start the engine, it'll automatically switch over to the battery setting, which is this one here, which is designed to keep the fridge at the same temperature it was at when departing. So if you've been hooked up on site, you're ready to travel to your next site, your shopping's nice and cool, on automatic it'll switch over as soon as the engine's started, and it'll keep your shopping nice and fresh until you arrive at your next site. And again, if you've gone from home and you're traveling a few hours to your first site, if it's been pre-chilled beforehand with the shopping in, your shopping's nice and chilled, it'll act as a cool box and it'll keep everything nice and fresh until you either stay on automatic and hook back up, or it goes to gas. But please note, with the automatic setting, as soon as the engine's turned off, the gas takes 20 minutes to light. This is just a safety feature in case you were pulling into a petrol forecourt for diesel. You don't want this to start igniting where there's potentially a spill of petrol or fumes, because this is already programmed to wait 20 minutes. So what you would do then is you would just put on a manual mode, which you'd click either gas by itself, mains, electric or battery. Here you've got your, this is just beeping now because the door is open. You've got your frame chiller here, so this stops the frame from freezing when the fridge freezer's on for a number of days and on a very cold temperature. And then your temperature, you'd press 5 being the coldest. When pre-chilling, put it on 5. When you put your shopping in, just knock it down to 3 or 4. From personal experience, sometimes 5 can freeze your fridge and you don't want that to happen, so you might need to just turn it down. But obviously in the summer you may want to turn it up a little bit more than in the winter, because obviously the summer it's warmer, so it'll take a longer time for it to chill down to temperature. And then finally, one last thing with your fridge is, once you've stopped using the vehicle for a couple of weeks, even if you're putting it away for a few weeks or a few months in the winter, we always recommend that you take everything out your fridge and freezer, you give it a wipe out with some anti-bac Dettol wipes, something like that, and then the last thing you want to do is close the door, because it forms an airtight seal with the rubber on the door. On both lights, if you press and pull the lugs out, it stops, rests the doors in. As you can see there, the door's not fully shut. You can get air circulation in and out the fridge freezer to stop mold and bacteria from forming in there. And then located next to it, got a Project 2000 TV bracket, so pressing the catch here, you'll be able to slide your television out. You can have it facing to the front lounge, or you can swivel it to the bedroom. And in there you do have 12 volt and a TV aerial point in the back there. And then below, make sure it clips in like so, and then below press the button in, slide out cupboard, with your freestanding table, so you can have it at the front or outside if it's a nice day. So in the kitchen area you've got 3 lit gas rings, and then you've got 1 electric hot plate, which is the far left hand side one. On mains power this will work. Allow these to cool before you put the glass lid down, because you don't want to shatter the glass lid, because sometimes with the heat they can shatter, and believe me, they go into a million pieces and you still find them 3 months down the line. You've got 2 sockets there for kettle and toaster on mains electric, and then you do have your grill. So just hold the knob in for a couple of seconds longer, just to allow the thermocouple to get warm to release the gas, and then you can release it and it'll stay lit. Because if you're wondering why it goes off, it's because the thermocouple isn't getting the temperature and it's just shutting the gas off because it thinks it's a leak. And then you do have your oven. You may want to remove your oven shelf, wrap it up, as well as your grill pan when travelling, as it can cause a little bit of rattling on the road. Storage underneath. You've got an extractor above, so you've got it in a fan, which has got 2 settings and a light. Storage above your kitchen for wine bottles, glasses, cutlery, crockery. Large drawer. Storage underneath. There's your drainer that goes on the side of the sink. Some more storage with a handy kitchen roll holder underneath there. And a cutlery tray. You will just need the cutlery insert, which you can buy from any homeware store. But you do have this handy slide out worktop extension for when you're prepping food and using all your worktop. You will need that for your chopping board to do the hob and use for plating up. And then as long as the pump's on, you'll get pressurized water from the hot and cold side. That water there is getting up to temperature there, because it's starting to get warm. And then you've got this light here, which has got an individual switch on just on the side. In your wardrobe you've got your telco booster, so you can boost the signal here up and down. Should it be too strong or too weak, you can get the perfect picture by adjusting the amplifier. And then if you were still struggling, you'd have to adjust your aerial. So when travelling, you always want to make sure that the stem's pulled fully in and the nuts tightened. But when you get to a site, you may need to adjust your tele aerial positioning to pick up a better signal. So if you just loosen this off, look where the other motorhomes and caravans are pointing, and then you shouldn't be having to readjust the aerial all the time to get the better picture. Point yours in a similar direction, so you can push it up and then use the black collar on the bottom to adjust the position of the aerial on the roof. But like I've said, make sure it's pulled in and the nuts fastened, as you wouldn't want the wind to get underneath the aerial when travelling. Got a large hanging rail in there and some good storage in the wardrobe. And then below you've got some storage shelves, and again a good amount of storage. So now in the washroom you've got your lights for your mirror, little switch here, and you've got a little reader light as well above there. A sink with push the plug in, and you can fill your hand basin. To operate the toilet, press the blue button at the back, which is your flush from your header tank. So always flush it first, which is where your pink diluted liquid goes. So get a watering can, that's probably the best way to dilute it. Carry that with you. So flush first to lubricate the seal between the blade and the cassette, and then use the grey lever here, slide it to the right, open the blade, use the toilet, flush after use, and then slide it back to the right. And if you get into a routine of doing it this way, when it is full, which will indicate on the top here, you'll be able to get it out the outside of the van without coming back in to close the blade. Toilet roll holder, fly screen, blackout blind, and the window that opens, similar to all the others. Heated towel rail, so you can put your towels on here, and this gets warm with the air blown Truma system, so it blows out the bottom for the washroom and then the heated towel rail. Tie your shower screens back before travelling, and you've got a switch here that turns on the light and the extractor fan, and then you do have your shower. With your shower, we always recommend that you remove your shower head from your hose, and as you can see there, your hose could harvest any water there in the winter. If you put in the shower tray with the tap left open, any water will just drain out, and then you open your waste and your fresh from outside, so that it runs out the waste and straight out the vehicle, and no water could freeze in the vehicle over the winter months when we get colder weather. Underneath the bed is where the location of your Truma boiler is. So this heats the vehicle and heats the water, so it has a built-in 10-litre water container inside, and it's very important in the winter that you drain the water off. So you would start by draining your outside, freshen your waste, then you would come in with no power on and open all the taps just to see if there's any water that's lying in there, dribbles out and straight out your waste, and your waste is open, so it would go straight out the vehicle. And then you want to drain this off. So to drain this off, this is what's known as your Truma frost valve. So at 3 degrees it'll automatically open, but don't rely on it, because if it ever becomes faulty, then you are going to pay the price for a new boiler, because it's not covered under warranty. It's the customer's responsibility to drain the vehicle off. So what you can do is, turn this, the button will pop out, the nib will pop up, and 10 litres of water will start draining out directly out underneath the chassis. If you leave that open, so when it's front to back and the button's pushed in, it's closed, it needs to be across the vehicle and the button needs to be popped out, the water will start draining off, it'll drain the 10 litres off. And then you want to leave that open during the time you've got the vehicle stood up, especially in the winter when we are experiencing bad weather. And then when you come to reuse the vehicle, first point you would do is close this. So close it like so, so the button's flush and it's across front to back. Close the fresh and the waste outside, close all the taps inside the vehicle, and then get your hose pipe and fill the fresh water up, which is outside just here. Once you've filled it up, come in, put the panel on, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first. You'll get an automatic pressurized cold feed of water, and then if you go to the hot, it'll cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises until you get a free flow of water from the hot side of the tap. This is when you know that your system is then primed, as it's just allowing the air that's accumulated in the boiler out, and it's filling that up with 10 litres of water. Once you've done one tap, if you do them all, and then your system's good to go. And then that's your boiler done. And also under here we've got your gas tab for your water heater and boiler, and your fridge, so you can isolate them if you think there's a problem by turning them across, so when they're horizontal they are off, when they're vertical they are on. Locker door with access to underneath storage underneath the bed. But you will have to remove your mattress because it's a ton weight, so you've got to remove that to get the bed up. So now inside the cab, which is based on a Mercedes Sprinter. So you do have your handbrake down to the left hand side of you, so you can put that on and off. You will have to take it off to spin the seat round, as the handbrake does come higher than the seat, but this is automatic, so you're alright. Electric driver and passenger windows, and then you've got your wing mirror adjustments, so right or left, and you can adjust the top and the bottom on there. And then you've got your Remus cab blind, so slide these out and you can black the cab windows out on an evening, and 2 sections, so the bigger section and the smaller section. Make sure they are fully open before you start travelling, because they can't be used as sunshades. And then down on the dash you've got your gas low, or should I say your gas hit, LPG tank level indicator, so that'll tell you how full your gas tank is. So there you can see that it's over half a tank full of LPG. Lights, so you've got off where it's at now, side lights, headlights, and pull out for rear fog lights, and your headlight adjustment, so you can adjust them. Got your speed limiter there, which you would just get your desired speed, put it on, which is the orange light, push up and down, and it'll say limiter there. So going up goes up in 5s, and then you can feather the throttle and it'll just not take you over that speed until you push the accelerator right the floor, and it will override that for safety features. Indicators and wipers, as it's a Merc, it's on the left hand side, not like other vans which are on the right. Automatic gearbox, so in park, down to reverse, which brings on your rear view camera here, which is always on should it be in park, neutral or drive. Then you've got neutral, and then you've got drive, and then you can go to manual, so you can go up and down the gears, and it'll go 1 2 3 4 5 6. So 1 2 3 4 5 and 6, as it's a 6-speed auto. Cup holder, 12-volt point, locks the doors including the habitation door. ASR offers just anti-slip relief, so it's just like traction control. And you've got your hazards, got a paper clip for holding important documents, your distribution, your aircon and your recirculation button here, and then your fan speed, and then your temperature on this ring here. Your radio, so you can scan for your favourite radio stations and press 1 to 9 to save your favourite tracks. Just take a SD card if you want to put your music onto an SD card. You can pop that in the front there, as it doesn't take a CD, and press media, and it would say, as it says there, no memory card found. It would be an SD card. You can go to telephone and connect the phone by pressing OK. Bluetooth telephones, and you want to update, and it'll start to search and find your phone if it's nearby. If you can find it on your phone before the head unit finds it, that's offer to pair to it, and then it should then say pair with Callum's iPhone or whoever's phone, and you can just press OK and it'll do that on there, and download your phone book. Glove box with your chassis number and your auto sleeper job number, which is your build number, in there. Toolkit underneath here. Your battery on a Sprinter is located underneath here, but you do have a jumping point underneath the bonnet. And then your leisure battery is underneath the seat. And then, as this is fitted with a Cat 1 Vodafone 4615 alarm, to turn your sensors off if you were leaving pets in or you wanted to arm it with yourselves in, what you've got to do is you've got to put the ignition on, turn the ignition off. Within 6 seconds you've got to get to this button here and press and hold, which is your alarm indicator. So press and hold until it stops flashing, and then that is your sensors now turned off. And then you can leave the dog in or yourselves, and as soon as you lock it, it shouldn't go off. But if you start the engine, it goes back to default. And then with the Sprinters as well, when you've had the alarm on and you come back and you unlock the van, always open the driver's door similar to the Ford, so it breaks the circuit. Otherwise it will re-alarm itself, and then within 5 minutes of you being on site, your alarm will be going off, and you want to know why. It's because you haven't broke the circuit of the alarm, because it doesn't see the motorhome on the back. It was just built as a 2-door chassis cab until they knew what they were doing with it.